So many of you really liked mixing colors with me on the color cubes. So these are the color cube cards by Sarah Renae Clark. I will leave a link in the video description box. And I started a new sketchbook for them just so that it is just for me mixing colors and creating art around those colors. Today's inspiration are these Chinese lanterns. So I was looking for an orange and a yellow. That's all I really cared about. And when I saw this card, I was like, oh yeah, those are really pretty. So these are what I'm going to be painting, not realistically, but I thought it would be fun to play around with this palette. I love the dark blue added here. And if you don't know what the color cube cards are, they are meant for color pencils, but I think for any artist, they are a treasure because you've got mixes here, a great photo, but then on the back side, she did shades, the true hue, and then tints, which is the lighter value. And then all these little numbers refer back to her color pencil numbers that she has for references for colors. So if you are someone who loves color pencils, that's what this was designed for. But if you're someone who just loves pretty pictures, this is for you. So we're gonna try mixing these colors today. I'm gonna do that first. And I am using my 18 color palette. There is a video all about that. And these are the colors that these 18 colors make. So you can see it's a way for me to practice with a specific palette. This is my new studio palette. So I really want to learn how to mix all of these without having to look on the chart, which is quite a feat. So we're going to start with this bright yellow. And I know that Naples yellow is not quite this yellow. You can see it's almost a little more orange. So we're going to try first yellow, Naples yellow, and raw sienna, see what color we get. But I also want to try Naples yellow and this quin orange. I've got a little scrap piece of paper here so that I can test. I am using a Princeton Long Round Aqua Elite in a number 8. This is probably my favorite brush ever since I did the Advent with it. I've really just grown accustomed to that beautiful point. Look at that. And it holds a lot of water too. So all my supplies are linked below. Let's start by mixing the Naples yellow. And I want to kind of show you that. You can see that it's very bright. I'm going to add a little bit of the raw sienna to it. It's a little better, but you can see it's more brown than orange. So I'm going to go to the orange now. So I need some more Naples yellow. Yeah, let's add a little bit of quin orange and see what happens. You can see the difference there. It just turned a little bit orange. And I think we need a little bit more. And that's a pretty good match. I like that a lot. But I do want to try the raw sienna and the burnt orange as well. Maybe it needs a little deeper hue, I'm not sure. Always good to try. This is how you get good at color mixing. I think I prefer the bottom one there. No, I like the top one because it's a cleaner color. So we're going to go with Naples yellow and some orange, quin orange. And I just have 1-inch squares drawn here so that I gave myself a pretty nice box to color in. Since this is all about mixing, I want to make sure that I do that. I've skipped a page on the other side. I'm not sure if I want to write down my mixes or not. So for right now, I'm just doing it on the right-hand pages. That looks nice. I am going to splash. This sketchbook has Fabriano Artistico paper in it, 90 pound, and it's cotton paper. So it takes this, has to dry a little bit longer. So as soon as that shine is off of it, see if you can see the shine. See that shine? As soon as that starts to dry, that's when I can splash this. If I splash it now, it really doesn't give watermarks. It just kind of lightens the tone, and I want to see the watermarks. So in the meantime, we can work on this orange. It's a pretty bright orange. So I want to look at the quin burnt orange and Naples yellow. More orange this time because you can see it's more orange here than yellow. I've got a splash now. You can see the shine is totally gone almost. Much better. Okay, so let's take a look at that color. You can see it needs to be a little richer. So I'm wondering if we should use the quin orange, more quin orange, and the raw sienna. Let's just compare the two here. You can see it's a little deeper with brown here. And I think that one's better. See how bright orange? That's because Naples, the difference between Naples here is brighter than the raw sienna is much dirtier. The one thing when I'm mixing colors like this and have a color card, I try not to use a pure color. So like if you had a new gamboge, you could probably get away with that, but it doesn't really teach you how to mix. So that's why I'm trying with these different yellows and different oranges to just see. The next color is kind of like a corally red orange. Isn't that beautiful? So I know on this palette here, I have the davinci alizarin gold. And I'm going to add a little bit of orange to that. Let's see. So I'm going to try a little bit more alizarin to that mix. That's better. See how that one is a little more orange than that one? And that's why I thought it needed a little more of the alizarin. This alizarin gold is one color that really, really intrigues me. I really, really love it. Sorry about that. Okay, our next color is kind of this maroony color. Look how dark this is. So that is the color that I would think is in these deeper shadows here and a little bit inside of here. If you were to guess, what color would you say? I would say probably like a red or a maroon color and add a touch of brown. Now, if you wanted it to go a little different, say you don't have a brown on your palette, you can always mix the complementary color. So that's the color directly across from the color wheel, which means red and green. I always think of Christmas for that, red and green. And when you do that, you will get kind of a dirtier color or a more brown gray color. So we're going to play with both of those. So I have a perylene maroon on here. And I want to look at that. Oh yeah, look how pretty that is. But remember, I don't want to just use a straight color, and I think I need a little bit of orange to that. Oh yeah, let's look at that. I need a little more water so I can see the color really good. You can see it's nice, but it's not dark enough. So let's take that perylene maroon now. And let's add a little bit of green. I have Joyce's Mother Green here. See how it took away the red? Did you see that? Let's check that one out. Oh yeah, much better. So do you see how it browned the color instead of making it nice and bright? It kind of, I don't want to say mute, but it kind of desaturates the color a little bit and it makes it a little deeper, but also to me a little more muddier. And you know I like muddy colors. Wow, is this a pretty color? Look at that. can tell I barely have any water on here. I always do that. I'm an acrylic painter and I always forget to add water. That one does not have to wait. I can splash it right away. I also want to try adding that perylene maroon and a bit of sepia. I have sepia way over here in this corner. I just want to see what kind of mix that would make. If it would come close, and it looks like it does. So remember, this was the one with the green, and that's the one with the brown. Very nice. About the same. And now we have this dark blue. Look at this blue color. To me, it's kind of like a really deep Cape Cod blue, or like a Copenhagen blue. But I really like that color. So let's see what we can do here. I have indigo on my palette, and I'm gonna try mixing lavender into that because this seems a little dusty to me and not as blue as this one. Do you see how blue this is? So I think by adding lavender, I might get a little closer. Just see what it did there? It just kind of grayed it out. So let's have a look on our card. It's pretty close. I also want to try the complementary color of blue. Do you happen to know what it is? Straight across from the color wheel. It's orange. So let's try the indigo. Let's try a bit of quin orange and see what happens. Now, remember indigo. Here we go. We're going to mix it in. Let's see what happens. Let's add a little bit more indigo. Ooh, you can see that turned it to the green side. So there it is, but look how dirty that is. Right? It's a nice dark color. I'm going to add a little bit more indigo now to brighten it up again. Touch of lavender now. I need more water. So let's have a look there. And you can see this is much bluer. So it's actually closer to the first one. So let's go with indigo. Touch of lavender. Ooh, that one looks pretty. You can see this one has just a little bit of purple in it. Do you see how blue that mix is? Do you see how purple this color seems? So maybe I need to touch a little bit of red. So I'm going to touch into that alizarin gold. Let's see what that did to it. It looks like it was the wrong purple. Yep. So I'm going to do indigo, lavender. I'm going to take this color here. This is the davinci red tint. I want to see what that does. We might have it. So the reason that I wanted to try this is the lavender was working, but not enough, because remember I needed that little touch of red. So then I thought, well, if I do this, you know, it's a lighter color, it's going to mute it, but it also has the red into it. So now let's check that out on our swatch card. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's much better. That's the one I'm going to go with. When you start to understand what your palette will do, I really feel like you become a better artist. Because first of all, you don't need as many colors as, you know, we all have. You could probably get away with 6 colors and be able to mix a lot of different variations. But it also helps bring harmony to your work. When you understand color and how it works and how they go together, you can start to see common denominators in all of these, right? Like these two were muted. This one was actually muted. That one and that one stayed kind of bright. So by learning that and learning how to do that, it allows you to experiment with other things and see how it works. Just like this. I would have probably never tried that red tint, but because it's on my palette, why not? Let's give it a try. The lavender wasn't doing it, so I knew we had to change. But I'm loving that color. That looks really nice. And you can see I've got a really nice color variation on there. It looks pretty close. I'm liking that a lot. This one looks like now it could be a little more orange than what I have it here. But remember, I mixed with the raw sienna, so maybe I should have stuck with Naples compared to that. But I kind of like the way that that goes, right? And this is where you learn and you write notes to yourself like, I should have done Naples instead of raw sienna. But if you like the tone that it created, that's what matters too. You know, no one says you have to match this to perfection. That's not what it's about for me. It's about using colors that I normally don't use together. Like I would never put this blue in with this warm palette for sure. And I probably wouldn't go with this color either. Although I do like the Caput Mortems, I usually try to keep like the duller colors like this away from kind of the bright colors. So I like though that they kind of go together there. I think that's really interesting. So I have my little 3 Chinese lanterns here. And what I'm going to do is I want one to be with these colors, the first 2. I want this one to be with these 2, and I want this one to be with these 2, or these ones, so that they have a nice gradation of color going down the page. How I'm going to do the blue is I think I'm going to add that to the shadow. Naples yellow, and I think I'm just going to do Naples yellow to give it a nice bright edge right there. That's good. And now I'm going to touch some of that orange in there. I'm not even looking at my sources because I don't want them to be perfect. I want them to just have color variation. That's all I'm trying to do. Now I'm going to go into the raw sienna here and the orange. Hopefully it's darker. I'm going to take some more of that Naples yellow just by itself here. I've got a little bit right there on the edge. I'm just going to drop some in there. I'm going to watch the shine, and I'm going to go right next to the stem here. I'm going to pick up this color, which is this one right here, and I'm just going to drop a little bit there. Gonna take some of that darker, the one with the raw sienna, and deepen it at the bottom here. So you see how it's created values without a lot of work. That's exactly what I was looking for. Okay, the next one I want to be these 2 or maybe even these 3. But I'm going to start with just a little bit of the plain Naples yellow, just to give it a little glow. I like what that does. Okay, so then we need to go to raw sienna. I heard you say, Kelly, dip in water. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to go into that, which was alizarin alizarin gold and raw sienna. Ooh, that's a pretty color. I dot my color in a lot. I just will kind of like dot it in with the tip of my brush instead of doing a like long stroke of color. That's how I get a lot of different value changes. I'm going to add a little bit more of the gold, the alizarin gold. There we go. See what that starting with the Naples yellow did? Gives it a nice little bright spot in there. I like that. Okay, the last one I want to be these three, so I want to try to get that dark in there. So again, I'm going to start with the Naples just to give it a nice bright spot. Go into the raw sienna, a little bit of orange. That's that one. So we're going to alizarin gold and raw sienna. Okay, now the scary part, putting in that dark red in there. That was the perylene maroon, and I'm going to add the green. I liked that color. There we go. See how I'm just kind of tipping my brush into it and patting it in. So we've gotten 3 different looks. This little spot here bothers me. I'm just going to soften it with some water. And I'm going to come back with some Naples and just drop it in here. Maybe that'll help blend it. This has to dry, and then I will come back and show you all of the beautiful colors and all the beautiful textures, and we'll add the shadows. Okay, they're all dry and they have such lovely texture. Just look at those. And do you see the color mixes? They go together so well. That's where we added the really dark one. Now we're going to take that blue and we're going to add some shadows to this. I've still got blue on my palette, but I am going to water it down. It should be darkest next to the Chinese lantern and get a little lighter as it goes away from it. So I'm going to do a nice dark shade here. I'm rinsing my brush, and I just have water on my brush now. I kind of fill the shape with water. Add a little more darkness right next to it. See that? We're going to do that again. Rinsing my brush, just water, filling in the shape, pulling the color. Where the point touches down to the ground, I want that to be a dark point because that's a point that it's touching the ground. I did a whole video on shadows if you want to see more about shadows. I need to splash those as well because my pieces are splashed. One more to go, the big one here. Rinsing my brush, just water, just fill in the shape. Now do you see how the blue of the shadow, the reason that that works with the Chinese lanterns is because it is the complementary color. So it's across from the color wheel and it makes the orange kind of pop off the page. See how deep this is, but look what it does to these colors. It makes them all look nice and bright. Just like on the card too. Look how the dark blue back here pops this flower up into your face, right? So it makes it become into the foreground and it makes the blue seep back into the background. That's also what warm and cool colors does. So the flower is warm, the blue is cool. So the warmth is coming up and the cool is going down. And you can see what that did here. The cool shadows are in the background, popping the warm items to the front. I hope you enjoyed color mixing with me today, and if you are inspired, please like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.